see the messages coming in. I've got so much fun once.
Good afternoon, honorable members. I want to request that before we start with our meeting, is part of our moment of silence for prayer or meditation. We all
Recording
also
in
observe
progress.
this moment of silence for making sure that we pass our condolences to the country and to the families of our servicemen who lost life in the two incidents, tragedies at Simonstown, where we lost 3 of our servicemen in the Navy, as well as Lohatla, where 6 soldiers were killed in a veld fire that raged through the base. Can we just observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation? Thank you. You may be seated. I just want to remind the delegates that the rules apply. They apply to virtual and hybrid meetings and sittings, in particularly sub-rules 21, 22, and 23 of Rule 103, which provides as follows. The hybrid sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. Delegates in the hybrid sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces. For purposes of the quorum, all delegates who are logged onto the virtual platform shall be considered present. Delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak, and they should ensure that the microphones on their electronic devices are muted and must remain muted unless they are permitted to speak. All delegates in the chamber may connect to the virtual platform as well as insert their cards to register on the chamber system. Delegates who are physically in the chamber must use the floor microphones. All delegates may participate in the discussions through the chat room. In addition, I would like to remind delegates that the interpretation facility is active. Permanent delegates, special delegates, SALGA reps, and members of the executive on the virtual platform are requested to ensure that the interpretation facility on the electronic devices is properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. The delegates and members of the executive in the chamber should use the interpretation instruments on their desk to access the interpretation facilities. Honorable delegates, in accordance with Council Rule 2291, there will be no notices of motion or motions without notice. Before I continue, I would like to call on the House Chair to take the chair. While she's coming to the chair, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy Minister for Water and Sanitation, all permanent delegates, MECs, all special delegates, and SALGA representatives to the House. Further, I would like to remind delegates that in terms of Rule 229 of the Council rules, the time for reply by the Deputy Minister to a question is 5 minutes. Only 4 supplementary questions are allowed per question, and a member who has asked the initial question would be first to be afforded an opportunity to ask a supplementary question. The time for asking a supplementary question is 2 minutes. The time for reply to a supplementary question is 4 minutes, and the supplementary question must emanate from the initial question. The Deputy Minister have indicated that he will join us virtually, and I would now call on him to respond to question number 220 as asked by the Honorable T.S.C. Dodovo. Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister, and I would request the House Chair to now take the seat for the chair.
Your Excellency, the Deputy Chair of the National Council of Provinces, Comrade Silva Lucas, and House Chair and delegates. I want to indicate to Your Excellencies that the intervention in terms of Section 63 of the Water Services Act at Mfuleni, initially there were delays because we deployed the South African National Defence Force. Subsequently, a company, a state-owned entity that is working for Ekurhuleni, they could not resolve the problem of the sewer running into the streets, but also impacting on the water system in the Vaal River. Subsequently, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Comrade Senzo Mchunu, appointed Rand Water as an implementing agent. I want to report that I was then appointed as a co-chair of a political steering committee that consists of more than 50 organizations, NGOs and community-based organizations, including the province of Gauteng and Mfuleni and the district of Sedibeng. We want to report that the intervention was one concentrating on issues of the repayment of infrastructure, because most of the critical infrastructure had collapsed, and especially the wastewater treatment works, there are 4 of them, but also the pipes that are supposed to transport the effluent into the wastewater treatment system had collapsed because there was issues of vandalism, but also on the basis of the age. The pump station that must support to pump in an instance where the gravitational force will not be available to pump, and most of this water, thousands and thousands of liters, were polluting the Vaal system. I want to report that in most areas, the sewer has been removed from people's homes. The Sedibeng water treatment, Sebokeng water treatment works has been upgraded to give additional 50 megaliters. As I speak now, because of that operational efficiency of Rand Water, the effluent is starting to be treated to them, and it meets the SAN standard. Also, the work has been completed in terms of refurbishment of a number of pump stations. Pump station number 2, 8, 9, and 10, they are now at practical completion, but more importantly, they are actually operational. There has also been a replacement of a number of pipelines that have totally collapsed, that you don't have to fix them because the sewer was running into people's homes, whether in Everton, whether in Sebokeng, especially Extension 10. And we need also to indicate that currently the department is doing a replacement of additional 24 collapsed pipeline to stop the sewer spillages at Mfuleni. We are in a position now to indicate that the additional pump stations are being attended to. We are also increasing the capacity of the wastewater treatment system because it has increased, especially in Gokel, Sebokeng, Gridsprate, from 15 megaliters to 50 megaliters respecting. And these upgrades will start in April. I need to indicate that the relationship between the implementing agent, Rand Water, and Mfuleni has improved significantly. We are currently building the capacity of Multi Aliqua so that they can be in a position to take over these issues. And the disruption that the communities used to make, we've been able to work jointly with communities. There are no disruption of these particular issues. Our concern remains on issues of security, vandalism, and more money is spent on security that should be spent on issues of cleaning up the system. The other matter we must attend to is the debt that is owed by Mfuleni to Rand Water. That has hampered the issues of delivery. We are looking at an option now where there's going to be a partnership between Rand Water and Mfuleni, where Rand Water will use its balance sheet. They will take over the assets, replace them, ensure that there's a proper billing system, meters are there. They collect the money and invest back into the system. At a particular point, when Rand Water has got its own investment, they will be able to hand over back the system to the municipality that is able to discharge its responsibility in terms of the Water Services Act. I thank you.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. The first follow-up question is going to ask by Honorable Dodovu.
Thank you very much, Chairperson of the session. Let me take this opportunity to also thank the Deputy Minister, Honorable Mahlobo, for his response. I think it is quite detailed. I may also hasten to say, Honorable Mahlobo, that they continue challenges in that municipality of Mfuleni, but we are happy that you are doing everything in respect to addressing the issues in the way that you have explained in a very collective effort in terms of the district development model, and this inspires confidence. And we want to really thank you very much. But having said that, Honorable Deputy Minister, it is evident that there is progress in the operations and maintenance of water and sewer infrastructure in Mfuleni local municipality, as you indicated. But the question would be, how far is the process of capacitating the METI offices with tools of trade and staff appointments to ensure that we continue to assist and extricate that municipality of Mfuleni? Thank you very much, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Rider. Deputy
No, you
Minister.
must respond, Chair.
Hey, nyakuba mna.
No,
Deputy
no,
Minister.
no, thank you very much, Honorable Comrade Chem Timanze. To Honorable Comrade Dodovu, we are very pleased that this municipality called Mfuleni, it had really collapsed. Because remember, the account of Mfuleni had been attached by ESCOM on the basis that they are owing the issues of electricity. Rand Water had attached the account. There was a time when on TV you could see the fleet that was being taken. I want to put it on record, Your Excellency Chair, that the department working with Rand Water, we have actually given them the tools of trade. As I speak right now, we've given them more than 36 buckets that are being used by the employees so that even if, let's say, there's a pipe burst, they are in a position to respond. We've given them the yellow fleet so that some of these issues can be dealt with. That's the issues of capacitation. We've also trained their employees using the Rand Water Foundation as scientists, created a telemetry so that they can be able to measure the water that gets into the wastewater system. They are also ensure that it is a proper treatment, so the water that gets into the valve system is of a standard in terms of the wastewater treatment works that is acceptable. We are continuously working with them to support them now to build the institution so that on its own, it can be able to do the issues of operations and maintenance. Initially, there were challenges where there were labor issues where workers, they felt that this issue of Rand Water is about taking their work, but all those issues working with the executive mayor Hadebe there, we've been in a position to resolve them, and everybody can see that now is a win-win situation. They are also assisting them to build what we call it, the issues of customer care. So that when citizens, they report issues of any leaks or any sewage that goes through the streets, they are able to respond, including the teams that are technical, that if there's any blockage or any manhole that has problems, they are able to respond timelessly. And we're very confident that as long as we stay together, we capacitate this institution, because we don't want to take over. But ultimately, we must build the capacity so they can discharge this responsibility, so that nobody at Mfuleni can live in inhumane conditions where the environment is harmful and polluted. Thank you very much, Madam Timans.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Honorable Rider, TA.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Deputy Minister, it seems that 63 is not only the name of the paragraph which has authorized the intervention, but it also seems like it's a target, because while Rand Water is there, they have allowed non-revenue water to balloon to 63.4% under their watch. So it brings into question the fact of, is there not a conflict of interest by having the seller of bulk water to the municipality also being responsible for the prudent management of the resource? Deputy Minister, at 63% water loss, the municipality is running at a substantial loss and therefore has no chance of paying for their current use, never mind the historical debt, which resulted, as you mentioned, in Rand Water seizing the bank accounts of the municipality. And that action prevents the municipality from fulfilling their constitutional mandates. So the solution that you've just mentioned in your response, Minister, is welcomed, that Rand Water will take a bigger control. But give us some details, please, Mr. Deputy Minister. We're still waiting for the details of the Section 63 intervention, which have been requested on numerous occasions. The terms of reference for that intervention has not been forthcoming. So in terms of how you plan to change the delivery of water services for the people of Mfuleni, there's a constitutional obligation that goes to public participation. Specifically, if you look at the Municipal Systems Act, it details a specific process that needs to follow. We'll need to follow that, sir. So rather, as a shorter version, do you not think it's time, since Mfuleni cannot deliver on their constitutional mandate, don't you believe you should be recommending to COGTA that they implement Section 139 of the Constitution effectively and dissolve the municipality? Thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Deputy Minister.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Demands Urider decides to put too many issues. Maybe let's do this, Chair. Firstly, our mandate when we went there because people were exposed to inhumane conditions, and there was a violation of human rights, that even young people were growing up under conditions of sewer. They knew nothing except sewer that was there. And our intervention in terms of Section 63 does not normally comes alone. It comes supporting the issues of Section 139. Already that municipality had been put under Section 139 of the Constitution, of which the Houses of Parliament, we have authorized that particular intervention. That was an enabling tool. But going forward, we are actually reviewing the legislation, especially the Water Services Act, to give us powers to intervene, even in the absence of Section 139. Therefore, to call for another Section 139 is not advisable, and is just more about political opportunism. We must indicate that now that the matter of sewer is being addressed in totality, and people, they see there are changes, positive change. The citizens of Mfuleni now, they are saying, we don't have water. We must address the problem of water. Our response is to say, if you lose 63 to 65% of your water, that particular drop that goes on the ground is required by citizens, but it's a revenue loss. And as we know, that municipality and others elsewhere in the country, including Tshwane, they will have no financial capability to be in a position to replace the infrastructure, because the infrastructure must be replaced. It has collapsed, it's old. That's why we're promoting issues of the use of state-owned enterprises like water boards with a good balance sheet. They can go to the market and show that they are able to come in, invest, replace the infrastructure, collect the revenue for a particular period. Then you change the institution, which is like Liqua Amet, Metse Alikwa, then you transfer the asset. That is called BOTT. That's the idea that we want municipalities to do. But when that decision is being made by the municipal council, all the necessary legislation, including issues of approval of council, getting the issues of confirmation by the citizens, that's our expectation, Chairperson, that I thought we should be able to respond to. But there is a turnaround, and we can share the information with members of the NCOP. We can bring Rand Water, what is our terms of reference, what is our project plan, and project details. But we do report to our select committee, chaired by His Excellency Comrade Dodovu. They are very quite aware that our plan is responsive and our plan is working. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Honorable Lehihi. Siyakuba. Abeko na la endlini. Honorable Lehihi. EFF. Siyakuba.
Chair, it's not Honorable Muzamai.
Kuba, Honorable Mzamai.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Minister. Minister, you have for years known that those facilities were under maintenance, yet nothing was done to solve the problem. As a result, 23 people died of cholera at Amaskra. In light of this, what measures have been put in place by the Joint Task Team to ensure that in future, lack of maintaining our people, especially for Amaskra?
Raleboha, Deputy Minister.
Honorable Chair, Manjubabu Mtsama is starting to ask the question that Honorable Comrade Dango is still going to ask about issues of Amaskra and Tswane. Safe to say, Chair, that local government, we must never take it away from them. That over the last 29 years, they've been at the forefront of providing services to all our citizens, including those that were excluded. In other ways, access to water, like the census report that was received by President yesterday, is more than 90%. But we're the first to admit that there is a certain percentage of South Africans that are still being left out, and it's our intention to reach them. And we want to be saying to them, in the meantime, the provision of water and sanitation will be done in terms of interim measures. But we must admit that when it came to infrastructure, while we expanded the services, there was a neglect or underinvestment on operations and maintenance. That's why our decision as national government, the Minister and the Minister of Culture, we are discussing with the Minister of Finance of some of our grants that they must be used as a once-off to make provision for operation and maintenance, in the main to replace old infrastructure so that the reliability or the availability of a service can remain above 90% rather than dropping in some of these municipalities to below 67%. That is our intention. But the other intention of helping on O&M, we are saying that municipalities, because their biggest income is water and electricity, the money that comes from water sales, Chair, it must be ring-fenced. It must be invested back the certain portion of that particular money so that at least we can guarantee that for an asset to be able to be giving us a service over a particular period, we need to keep it in good conditions. But some of the aspects that Babu Mtsama is asking about issues of cholera and so forth, when we deal with the other question under the leadership of His Excellency Comrade Dango, we should be able to respond about issues of Amaskra. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Honorable Depraying.
Thank you, House Chair.
Applause.
Deputy
Order,
Minister,
honorable members. Honorable Depraying.
thank you, House Chair. Deputy Minister, in light of the fact that the same as Mfuleni municipality, several municipalities in the Free State, like Mangaung Metro and the Kopanong local municipality, for instance, have been polluting our water resources for many years now. An example of this is, for instance, the raw sewage that is being spilled into the Garib Dam. Now, Deputy Minister, will your department consider invoking Section 63 in these municipalities as well? Since the Garib Dam is one of our largest, or is the largest dam in South Africa, I'm sure you would agree to the urgency of this matter especially since Kopanong municipality is not able to govern themselves. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. Honorable Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency Mtimande, Honorable Brain, they are posing new issues. But safe to say that the issues of pollution of water is a matter that we take it very serious. Because one of the things that is going to happen is that the country is not going to run out of water, but the water will not be fit for use on the basis of the pollution that is caused by municipalities and industries, because we must not exclude industries. Our attitude is twofold, Chairperson, is that those who pollute, they must stop doing it. And if they don't do that, we are actually going to prosecute them. And a number of municipalities are being prosecuted, whether in Mpumalanga, whether elsewhere, where we've given them directives, because pollution is an offense. And even it has an implication around the issues of the treatment cost, because if it is more polluted, you have to pay the premium around issues of treatment. In Mangaung, we don't have an intention of putting Section 63 check. We are assisting them, working with the Premier of the province to turn around the situation around their wastewater treatment works that are not functioning well. And I was at an opportunity to go and actually investigate those particular issues. Jagersfontein, we also know that there are issues that are there because of that particular mine operation, where the wastewater treatment works actually got destroyed, and it has been cleaned, Chair. And that wastewater treatment plant in Jagersfontein in Kopanong has been brought back into functionality, and there is no pollution that is happening. But that municipality is very small, is a conglomeration of small dorpies, and it will never be financially viable. Hence, the support of the state and the private sector is an important imperative. Thank you, Mtimans.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Deputy Minister Siyakuba. Siyamanje ku question number 228 that have asked by Honorable Smith. Can you please respond, Deputy Minister?
Your Excellency, Chair, we need to respond on the issues of water losses by the water boards. You look at Matola, the losses is 8.74%. Loom water is 9%. Lepelle Northern Water 6.73%. Mahali is 4.4%. Mhlatuze 2.56%. Overpet 9.48%. Rand water at 4.7%. Umgeni water at 2.7%. These losses, Chair, comparatively to the losses with other water entities or utilities in the world, we compare very well. What are these reasons, Chair? The reasons of water losses in any water system. For an example, when you are doing your backwash, there's going to be water that is going to be lost. The very same way, when you are actually cleaning your swimming pool, there's a lot of water that is being used. Is it acceptable in terms of the norm, or whether it is not acceptable? The answer here, it is acceptable. But some of these water boards, Chair, their losses are a little bit higher on the basis that there's an issue of load shedding. When there's a load shedding, there's a flooding of the system. Then you have to be able to dewater the system. It's just an operational matter. There are certain instances in some of our bulk system where there's issues of vandalism of the bulk system. Hence, these water boards have measures to deal with issues of security. But there are also some illegal connection. Most of our water boards, Chair, the infrastructure has been maintained in good condition. But some water boards, because their balance sheets and their liquidity is not the same, some of their biggest pipelines, they get to collapse. And when there's an infrastructure failure, then some of them, they take a little bit time in terms of responding to those particular issues. But that is an answer. Our biggest issue is not on the bulk water losses, Chair. It's more on the distribution system especially the system of municipalities, where the average of non-revenue water on the basis of fiscal losses and including the issues of illegal connection, it runs between 30% to 45%. In some instances, like eThekwini, it runs around 52%. Here in Tshwane, it runs more than 40%. In Johannesburg, we are running close to 40%. And somewhere at Mfuleni, where you run it between 63 and 65%. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Honorable Smith.
Thank you, Honorable House Chair and Honorable Deputy Minister. I must say I'm a bit disappointed that neither the Minister or the Deputy Minister thought it necessary to be in the House today. Deputy Minister, according to the response from the department on question 239, a total amount of 1.085 billion rand worth of water revenue were lost by only the water boards throughout the country due to water leakages and theft. This amount does not even consider, as you said, the losses and theft of water at local government level, as well as their distribution networks to the actual consumers. Minister, can you today confirm that this cost is actually cascaded down to the consumers that do pay to foot the bill for your department's failures and incompetence? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member. But I am asking a clarity here. Are you asking on question 229 or 228?
The question 239 was a written question. So the question 228 refers to the question 239, which was a written question. Thank you.
Thanks very much for your explanation. Honorable Deputy Minister.
Well, Honorable Smith is very unfortunately because we are masking the truth. And the truth is that we've done well over the last 29 years. And our citizens, for the first time, they have access to water, including the economic benefits of water. These water boards, like legislators, you made the law in terms of the Water Services Act, their responsibility is the bulk system. And when they manage the bulk to ensure that we don't run out of water, the water is treated to international best practice standards and SANS 241. These water boards have been very successful. And if we have been working in an engineering environment, like some of us have done in water over years, these figures around the issues of the losses, they are acceptable in terms of the norm. You can go to the Kingdom of Netherlands, you can go to the UK, who are comparatively doing well. But we are correct to say that for every drop of water that is being lost, there is a financial implication. Because what happens from the tariff setting, just for the development charge and the raw water charge, those are some of the issues that you look at even in terms of the formula. And I want to say on record, it is not being passed to the end user. It's not passed to those who are buying water. But at the very same time, dealing with issues of infrastructure failure and the conditional assessment of infrastructure. That's why in the initial questions when I was responding to Mfuleni, we are spending more of our time to ensure that infrastructure is at the bedrock of providing services, is in good condition. Hence our president, when he decided to do the economic reconstruction recovery plan, he prioritized infrastructure because the availability of the service and the growth of our economy and investment confidence depends on this infrastructure. Where there are losses in municipalities, we will not look away as national government. We are supporting them with our grants and other options that are on the table. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Honorable Sheikh.
Thank you very much, House Chair, and let me also thank the Honorable Deputy Minister for his response. It is noted, Deputy Minister, that you also indicated that vandalism is one of the main causes of water loss. You also mentioned that water boards are taking measures to deal with this. My question, Deputy Minister, is, are there any programs in collaboration with the security cluster to look at stopping these acts of sabotage? And if yes, how successful is this program? Thank you, House Chair.
No, thank you very much, Chair, through you. We are very pleased that one of the biggest issues, Chair, that we need to report, there is an impact of illegal mining, especially happening in the province of Gauteng, to a certain degree, also happening in Free State. One of the things that has happened is that rainwater, which is one that has a lot of water that it produces, just the license that we've given them of more than 5,000 megaliters that they could produce per day. When sometimes these zamazamas, they go and interfere with these big pipelines that we have, they actually interfere with the servitude, certain of our lines. There is one area here in West Rand where they were interfering even with the gas pipe and the water pipe. These are some of the instances where we lose water. But we are using technology so that we can be able to do remote sensing. You can be in a position to see that the pressure in this particular area is now fluctuating, is going down. Then there's a disbursement of the teams in terms of security. But we're working very close with the security cluster so that we can be in a position to deal with some of these issues. But there's also issues of community awareness and civic education. That's why most of these water boards, you could see putting out adverts and say, don't encroach into our line in terms of the servitude. Because when they encroach, they will do illegal connection, but the pressure on those particular pipes, it can cause disasters and many people can die. We are now looking at the possibility of technology, because the technology that we use in the pipes, there are certain of these pipes that is easy to interfere. You can do the illegal connections. These are some of the options that we are looking at, but this thing cannot be resolved alone as long as communities, they don't play their part, because these losses, they are hitting us in terms of the fiscus.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister. Honorable Khatebe Pungane.
Thank you so much, Honorable House Chairperson. Honorable Minister, this water crisis has become so dire in the country over the years, as we have near 41% loss in potable water due to poor infrastructure. Honorable Deputy Minister, I would like to know what actionable solutions are being implemented by the department to address these issues through the projected water needs of the population over the next 20 years. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Chair, and thanks to Pungane. There's a plethora of initiatives, Pungane, that we take. One of the biggest issues is to sort out the condition of infrastructure, because if the infrastructure is not actually renewed, we are losing a lot of water, and it goes to the ground, and citizens, they need it, and municipalities are losing that. That's why the decision that 10% of MIC must go to O&M is a good decision, but some of these municipalities are not complying to that. One of the decisions we've made is to engage Treasury that let's do a once-off, where your regional bulk infrastructure grant, your water services improvement grant, including the USDG for the metros, a certain portion must be taken to ensure that it goes back to look at the issue of the infrastructure, because if it is fixed, we'll avoid water losses, but at the very same time, we can put it, the meters, the pressure valves, so that we don't have problems in dealing with that particular issue. But we have also said to municipalities, put water conservation and demand management But we can't say to people who don't have water, save water, when you don't receive one. But the water conservation and demand management, it involves issues of asset management, it involves issues of governance, institutional management, but also the issues of community mobilization. Because in our own experience, if these people who are managing the plants, they don't put pressure reducing valves that you can use during nightfalls, you lose a lot of water. But if you don't also do restriction, you lose a lot of water. But if you don't involve citizens in terms of water-wise campaigns, don't be actually use so much water for bathing or use the water that you are actually using clean water for issues of irrigation. But even how we do our own issues of the built environment, going forward, we must only produce only water devices, even for our own homes. Those devices must promote efficiency. You can't have a toilet that is actually flushing 20 liters, while in other public facilities, like the shops, the government buildings, and everywhere, those devices are the most important component. But in the main, we must fix the asset. When the asset is fixed, you will have the returns. Where there's no money, we are saying private sector must come in, build, operate, train, and transfer, collect the money over a particular period, hand back the asset to the Water Services Authority. But like in Etegwini, as an example, Umgeni Water is going to take over those wastewater plants of Etegwini because there's a lot of losses that are happening in Etegwini, including the issues of the effluent that goes into the sea. We are trying to support the municipalities, but some of the legislative reforms will appeal for your support as legislators so that we can intervene where there are certain issues of lapses. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Member. The next follow-up question is Honorable Muletsane.
Thank you,
Honorable
House Chair.
Muletsane.
Thank you, House Chair. Deputy Minister, which long-term strategies does your department has as to resolve or prevent this kind of a loss of water as a permanent solution? Thank you, House Chair.
Thanks very much, Honorable Muletsane. Deputy Minister.
Chair, our long-term plan is very simple, Chair. We do have our National Water Resource Strategy, including the National Water and Sanitation Master Plan. One of the things that we have insisted on is that the philosophy of asset management or the doctrine of asset management, whether you deal with the issues of CAPEX, whether you deal with the issues of OPEX, is the most important issue that we must deal with. In other words, we must be able to do investment ahead of the curve. When the population grows, when the GDP grows, there's going to be pressure on the system. But then there must be an issue of adaptation around climate resilience, technologies that must be used in infrastructure. Because if you don't use climate resilient infrastructure in terms of the built environment, these challenges of infrastructure are going to continue to persist. Then there's an issue, secondly, that those who manage our assets, the infrastructure, must be suitably qualified in terms of our standard operating procedures, norms, and standards. For every infrastructure of a particular size, there is a classification system. So that people that of a particular class or an asset, those who must operate it, they must operate it well. Then there's an issue of funding. The issues of funding option, the issue of the user pay principle must always be respected, because if we don't pay for these services, you will not be able to continue to sweat the asset. But those who are poor, the security net around the infrastructure must always be provided, but there must be a limit so that even those who are using free basic water, they cannot be in a position to continuously abuse the system. Lastly, there must be consequence management. In other words, we apply bylaws and regulations. If people waste water, they interfere with the infrastructure, concomitant actions must be taken. But more importantly, even the users of water, we should be able to do that. The last point, Chair, is the tariffs. One of the things that is more important about asset management is the water use charges that we're imposing. They must remain comparatively competitive, but taking into account our socio-economic conditions in our country. Hence, our commission that is dealing with water pricing is already in place so that we don't abuse the system, but we never continue with underinvestment on infrastructure, including both in terms of CAPEX and OPEX. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister. We will continue and you may respond to question 221 as asked by Honorable Maleka.
Your Excellency, Deputy Chair, fortunately, I was in the province of Limpopo last week doing water engagements. This Lepeleng-Kumbi municipality under the Capricorn district is not a water services authority, but is one of those municipalities that we must improve issues of governance, but also the issues of investment on infrastructure. We must indicate, Chairperson, that the bulk water supply, there are 219 boreholes that are servicing that's Lepeleng-Kumbi municipality, and 175 of them, they are operational, and the others are not operational on the basis that, one, they have not been energized. And I've directed that ESCOM and our teams, they must meet that in all municipalities where boreholes, they need to be energized. They need to be energized so that people can have access to groundwater, especially communities that don't have infrastructure. There is an issue of vandalism, and I had a discussion with this municipality in the water engagement that the security of infrastructure will be very important in terms of deployment of security, but also working with the communities. Also, just the general matters of operations and maintenance. We note that the population has increased, Chairperson, and as a Department of Water and Sanitation, we are supporting this municipality with our grants, the Water Services Improvement Grant, during this year under review. 72 million rands has been made available. We are also planning to allocate further 76 million and 80 million in the financial year 2024-25, 25-26, so that we can support and address these particular issues. But in the long term, Chair, we are answering the question where water will come from for the people of Capricorn. Currently, there is an Olifants Ebenezer water supply system where we've appointed Lepeleng Northern Water. We are increasing the bulk system, including the reservoirs and the treatment plant, from into more than 90 megaliters. But we're also bringing water from Skukune. You know, the Wop Dam, Chair, we are working with the mines so that the water can from Skukune, it comes to Capricorn until to Waterberg in Mkhalakwen. And government has agreed to go 50-50, and the offtake agreements have already been signed. But the Ebenezer scheme, as I was saying, Chair, already funding has been made through the budget facility. Ultimately, Chair, the Olifant Sport water treatment works. It will be upgraded to 120 megaliters so that we can address the growing demand that is being faced by the communities of Capricorn District, where the Lepeleng-Kumbi is, including the greater Sekhukhune, because people of Sekhukhune too, they have a beautiful dam, but they don't have access to water.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable Maleka, your follow-up question.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Can you allow me not to switch on my video due to unstable network?
You may continue.
Thank you, Deputy Chair. Ngiyabonga mhlonishwa. ngempendulo yakho ecaciselekile negculisayo. Deputy Minister, it is encouraging to see that the department has both a long and a short-term plan to address the water challenges of the municipality and the district. We also note the non-operation of some boreholes due to theft and vandalism. Mhlonisha, umbuzo wami uthi, are there any measures in place to counter the theft and vandalism that is affecting the level of the provision of water? Ngiyabonga, Deputy Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Maleka. Honorable Deputy Minister, over to
Your
you.
Excellency, Deputy Chair of the NCOP and Honorable Comrade Maleka, the issue of criminality, Chair, and the attack in infrastructure is a serious matter. And government led by His Excellency Comrade President Cyril Ramaphosa has directed the security infrastructure that we tighten our laws, make it a serious schedule in terms of offenses around those chairpersons that are destroying infrastructure. Because what has happened, Chairperson, we've encouraged people to put security. Well, some of these municipalities, the quality of security is not good in a Chairperson. Some of them, they send people with donkey beer. When some of these people who come and vandalize and steal the ferrous and non-ferrous equipment, including the copper, they are highly armed, Chairperson, in terms of high caliber weapons and ammunition. Therefore, we cannot continue as a state to do that. Our options, Chair, is that municipalities must start to use technology, Chair. In other words, you do your surveillance using the drones. They must also, in the infrastructure, Chair, be able to put a chip that is a remote sensor in terms of the security strategy. But in some instances, where we put boreholes, like tomorrow I'll be somewhere in Capricorn, handing over some boreholes with Coca-Cola South Africa. We've encouraged them, Chairperson, that when you do some of these issues, the solar systems, some of them you put in people's homes where they are secured in dealing with some of these issues. But our fight against criminals and vandals, we should be able to work with communities, because some of these community members, they've allowed these criminals to have a safe haven in their own homes and in their own neighborhood. That is our approach, Chairperson, but including the other issues I've said before, the kind of technology that we must use. Whether do we still have to use copper? If we are actually going to migrate from copper, my apology, what kind of other equipment you can be able to use that can still be in a position to become a conductor of a current? Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Next follow-up will be asked by Mr. M.A.P. De Bruin. Mr. De Bruin.
Thank you, House Chair. Or Deputy Chair. Honorable Deputy Minister, municipalities across South Africa, like Lepelle and Kumbi, are constantly in violation of the Water Services Act, environmental legislation, and the Constitution. And Deputy Minister, I believe this is a result of the total disregard of authorities and national and provincial departments and legislation. So my question, Deputy Minister, would be, when will your department enforce consequence management and disciplinary actions against all municipalities in this regard to ensure the sustainable water and sanitation services for the long run? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable De Bruin. Honorable Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair, Honorable De Bruin, Lepelle Nkumbi is a main question that has been asked. In terms of powers and function, it's not a water services authority. That function, Chairperson, resides with the district. We must admit, Chair, that there are certain water services authorities that have lapses. And where they have lapses, Chair, the Constitution implores us to support them. That's why in many instances we invoke Section 154 of the Constitution to provide support in terms of planning, in terms of technical aspects, including the deployment of teams working with COCTA and MISA. But then there's issues of funding, Chairperson. We fund them. Where they are lacking on issues of capacity, Chairperson, we've strengthened our water boards. And our water boards have been placed at the disposal of these municipalities. So they too can be in a position that they can be supported. We do continuously monitoring and evaluation. Municipal assessment reports, we know where they are ranking in terms of the criteria we've set, and then that's how we provide support. That's what cooperative governance and intergovernmental relations framework laws requires us to do. Where there is a failure, Chair, we don't hesitate to intervene. That's why in a number of municipalities where there's a Section 139, in certain instances we come in as part of Water Services Act in terms of Section 63. We are actually working together with them. We don't have to be antagonizing local government, because if local government fails, it has the biggest impact on all those citizens that are actually in that particular locality. Hence our view that even when they are responsible for reticulation, when they can't do it, we'll be there, because citizens' right around access to water and sanitation can never be denied on the basis of institutional incapacity. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The next follow-up will be asked by Honorable Ms. Mbali Dlamini.
Thank you, Deputy House Chair. I'm kindly requesting to keep my camera off.
Continue, please.
Deputy Minister, the Lepelle-Nkumbi local municipality has for years been plagued with water service challenges as it continues to experience frequent water cut-offs, aged water taps, and water pipes which are being stolen. And despite promises made to address the problem, residents continue to suffer from a lack of service delivery. Minister, what has been done, or what are the funding mechanisms that have been used to support the strategies in resolving the water crisis? What have been their benefits and what have been their challenges? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Dlamini. Honorable Deputy Minister.
No, thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair. Honorable Dlamini, I've indicated that in my own experience and my own deployment on the ground by the organization of the people there, I've been there last week. Hence, I've indicated that the current challenge, because the source of water in that part of the world, in the main, Chairperson, the source of water is groundwater. And the groundwater, for you to be able to extract it, they are using boreholes. That's why there are too many boreholes that are there. And those boreholes, we've said, most of them, they're functional. But we are then saying to ourselves, we must give them guarantee that if the aquifers, they run dry, where will they get water? For Lepelle-Nkumbi and the many parts of Capricorn, the Olifants Ebenezer system, that is already funded, Chairperson. Remember, they get water from the Flatbushilo, the Ebenezer, including the Wop Dam. That money is already there, Chairperson. The Lepelle Northern Water is actually increasing the capacity of its treatment works to more than 120. Already more than 1.4 billion is being implemented to support all those municipalities, including the city of Pulugwan. But you have a place like a chair in Capricorn called Blowback. Blowback, you can't draw water from Nandoni, you can't draw water from the Wop, you can't draw water from the Ebenezer scheme. Currently, our teams are looking at transfer from the Zambezi River, from that particular confluence, because of the relationship we have with Zambia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe, because it constitutes 44% of that particular district. I've also indicated that under this current year term, we are supporting the intervention by the district in Lepelle by 72 million rand, so that we can bring water in terms of the water services infrastructure grant. Next financial year, they would get 76. They will also get 80 million. Therefore, I can assure Dlamini that there is some work that is being done there. The issues of vandalism of infrastructure, Chair, I've responded very comprehensively. What needs to be done, because it's one of the setbacks that we're experiencing about the attack on our infrastructure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The fourth follow-up will now be by Honorable C.F. Beyer-Smith.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Honorable Deputy Minister, as you mentioned, for the long-term solution, water needs to be pumped from the Olifants water system. So my question is, the communities around the Flag Bashilo and the Whip Dam, similar to the Nondoni Dam situation as well, are now refusing to allow water to be pumped to other areas like Lepelle, Mogalakwena and Polokwane, due to them staying right next to these dams and not having water as yet from these dams. How will you overcome this crisis while still also addressing the water shortages in the said areas above, which has been made worse by load shedding and the collapse of electrical networks due to non-maintenance? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Minister, may respond.
Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair, the instruction by His Excellency President Ramaphosa, he says to us, nobody must be left behind. There is not going to be a single citizen, Chair, where the infrastructure is going to pass your village or is going to pass your community and you don't have access to water. At the very same time, the dams that the apartheid government had built, they were only meant for agriculture and they were meant for mining. That's why water had to be brought from KwaZulu-Natal, Mpumalanga, had to be brought from Lesotho, just to satisfy the mining houses in Gauteng. In Limpopo, I've worked there myself when the work was built. Those communities were agreed with Olifants Management Center, which is the mines that are there, that were putting out of the 26 billion. Our state is going to put a 50%. The mines are going to put 50%. We are working on the bulk treatment from the Dwarf Dam, and those communities just down there at the dam, you cross the bridge up there into the Nebo Plateau. All those plans in terms of reticulation, building reservoirs, until you arrive in Mogalakwena, they will be in a position to benefit. If there was time, Chair, we can present the plan. How does it look like? The very same matter of Nandoni we have raised. I dealt with the problem of those communities personally over the last 2 years, where communities were being paid when the pipes were supposed to move for 49 kilometers from Vembe unto Mopani. Those communities have started connecting them with our construction unit. There are T-junctions that are there, and the reticulation by the Vembe district is currently happening. While we know that the water has arrived in Tsami Dam and we're building more treatment capacity for the communities of Mopani and Kiani, areas like Homo for the first time, Chairperson, they are receiving water from the tap. We want to assure Honorable Smith, no South African will be left behind, because to give them water is not a faith, it's a constitutional injunction, and the government of the ANC will never leave its citizens behind, Chair.
Honorable Smith, order. Honorable Deputy Minister, you may continue and respond to question number 223.
Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair of the National Council of Provinces, The department indeed, as per the finding of the AG, we incurred an irregular expenditure on the water trading entity on the basis for two aspects, where the SCM processes was not followed to the latter, and secondly, there are those entities that were appointed without following the specification, especially that in terms of the CIDP, instead of specifying that it should be grade 9 in terms of the quantum, in terms of the value, then they put it at grade 8. Those irregularities that were identified, as I've said, they're about awarding of the contracts and the approved specification. And the numbers, Chair, for those particular companies, they are there in terms of what we've said. The deviation approved for planned hiring, especially for Guyana project, was also considered irregular due to non-adherence of the evaluation criteria. But I need to indicate that after we've incurred this irregular expenditure, there is an ongoing investigation. Our internal audit has been directed to investigate so that those officials can be brought to book around dealing with these particular issues. And I can also assure that the Director General has improved the issues around procurement, because procurement in the Department of Water and Sanitation over years was one of the black spots that was smaller than a pin set that became a cancer and made us to be in conflict with the law, where the department, the SIU had to come in, the Hawks had to come in because of the failure to tighten procurement. And we're very confident that the system that our DG has put and management are adequate. Lastly, there was no fruitless and wasteful expenditure incurred by the department during the period that is in question. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable Khadebe, you will have the first follow-up question.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chairperson. Honorable Deputy Minister, I have asked this question because if you remember, in 2018, this very department had boreholes expenditure in the Guyana area, where the original budget of 1.3 billion had been exceeded by 1.2 billion just in that area alone, making it almost double the estimated cost. Honorable Deputy Minister, I would like to know, seeing that there are certain projects under your radar that are far from being completed, which contribute largely to the department's wasteful expenditure, what measures and solutions have you put in place since you assumed office as the ministry, and which of these measures have been successful thus far? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency, Chairperson, the matters that Bungane you raised initially of the ugly past, we're very happy that since we came in, we've insisted that there should be consequence management, because we lost a lot of water and citizens of that particular area in Limpopo were denied access to water. And we're correcting that so that even those entities that were involved in the embezzlement, including malfeasance, are dealt with decisively. When we came in, we had to deal with the issue of the stability of the organization. We have appointed a Director General that has the capacity, including integrity, and he has put those particular systems, Bungane. It does not necessarily mean that you will be able to eliminate irregular expenditure immediately. Therefore, our highest risk was the procurement. The procurement in terms of committees, they've been reviewed, they've been trained, and they are being monitored, is one of the issues that we have dealt with. Secondly, there is issues of monitoring around people who are doing claims of the work that has not been done before. Those who are doing the certification of certificates, with also the issues of going to the ground. We don't even accept Pungane, even invoices coming from municipalities without sending people on the ground to check the existence of the progress that is being made. But I need to indicate that these ones that were belonging to the water trading entity and the construction unit, we have actually strengthened the construction unit in the department in terms of governance, in terms of procurement, but there will be consequences for these people as well, saying the investigation is underway. But we are very happy that for the first time, Pungan, we have recorded no fruitless and no wasteful expenditure. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The next follow-up will be by Honorable Brathese of the TA.
Chairperson, Deputy Chair, if I may take the follow-up on his behalf, is not available this afternoon.
Yes, but I didn't receive any notice that he won't be here. I didn't receive any notice that he won't be here. He mustn't begin like the EFF. He must stay the person that he is. That is what he must not
Chairperson,
do.
the format for questions is normally the person in the House is recognized. This is not like the old session that's guided by the rules. Before we had these new rules where the names of questioners get identified beforehand, it was merely a case of raising our hands. And the rules book hasn't been updated since.
You don't have to be technical. You can just accept what I say and convey the message.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Chair, Deputy Chair. You can accept what I'm saying too. Good. Deputy Minister, thank you for your response. And yes, I think that's probably good news that we haven't had any fruitless and wasteful expenditure in the department this year. But of course, I think what Mr. Khadebe was getting to and referring to was the famous war on leaks with Nomvulo Mokonyane, where there was fruitless and wasteful expenditure that was in mind-boggling quantities. Deputy Minister, the result of that money not being spent on the project that it was supposed to be spent on is that we sit today with the issues that you mentioned earlier on, with the non-revenue water in most municipalities exceeding 50%. Deputy Minister, so while there's no fruitless and wasteful expenditure in the current year, what are we doing to get back to the programs that were funded in the previous year, where the money was spent, but the work wasn't being done? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair, I think Honorable Member is trying to put words into Honorable Hadebe's question. He never asked me about war on leaks. I responded on these issues. But the issue of war on leaks, it was a very good project. But Chairperson, it was not properly conceptualized. In an infrastructure doctrine, Chair, or infrastructure philosophy, before you can get people that can try to carry some few tools there and there to fix the leaks, you first have to do conditional assessment of the infrastructure. Most of the infrastructure assets are supposed to be replaced, Chair. When they are replaced, then you put all the telemetry, the calibration system, the pressure reducing valves and so forth. Then when there is a small issue that is happening, then you deploy people with the right tools. But that matter of war and leaks is a matter that we reported in terms of SCOPA, is a matter under investigation. Because that particular matter, those who were running the operation, there were certain irregularities that happened. And those will be brought to book in dealing with that particular matter. But now the issue of non-revenue water and leaks general, in the questions before, Chair, I've spoken at length what our plans, what our experiences, and a number of areas where we are supporting so that we can reduce the country's average of non-revenue water hovering around the 40%, and to the extreme, around 60%, 65% in other cases, to an acceptable international norm. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The next will be Honorable Masen Tafeni. Mr. Tafeni.
Nkosi Enkosi Deputy Chair. Deputy Minister, irregular fruitless and wasteful expenditure continues to be a challenge in government department headed by the ruling party. The root cause being inadequate skills and overall lack of capacity. In light of this, which initiative was the minister taking to ensure accountability and consequences for any irregular and wasteful expenditure experienced in this department? And Deputy Minister, there is no wasteful and fruitless expenditure. So those wasteful, fruitless and wasteful expenditures sizibona ukuthi ziyaqhubeka. Ingaba bazijonge ngeliphi libona iso. Deputy Chair. Thank you.
Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency, Deputy Chair, Honorable Tafeni is making a mistake or an omission. The record from the Auditor General has indicated that the Department of Water and Sanitation, on the question and the period under review, there was no wasteful and fruitless expenditure. And on the other matter of irregular expenditure, it's a very clear decision. Irregular does not mean that someone is stolen, but it means that legislative processes, either in law, either in policies, have not been adhered to. And then in this case, we know that there were deviations that were being made, but also, my apology, Chair, the issues of adherence to the criteria for evaluation. And we are very clear to say, how did it happen? But because it's a deviation in law, someone must be held accountable. And the due processes are being followed. That investigation by our internal audit, including the forensic component, is being done and will allow these investigations, Chairperson, to take its course. And then ultimately, on the basis of the investigative report, decisions will be made. But in the past, outside to this question, there's been consequence management. Officials in the Department of Water and Sanitation have been brought to book. They've been dismissed. Some of them, where it bordered on criminality, matters have been referred to the South African Police Services, and the Hawks are working on those particular matters. But we must be able to admit that this department, from being insolvent, from being a department that is always defaulting around following laws and processes, we did came to you and said in the select committee, this is our turnaround plan in terms of our finances, in terms of the capacity. I can confirm as I stand here, Chair, we have capable men and women in the Department of Water and Sanitation, highly qualified, that are prepared to change the course of history and deliver on our mandate, not to leave any South African behind, ensure that they do have water and decent sanitation, including the benefits thereof. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The next question will be Honorable Ms. Bartlett. Honorable Bartlett. Honorable Bartlett. I see you on the platform. Honorable Bartlett.
Sir. Chairperson.
Honorable Bartlett.
Sorry, Chair.
Continue, please.
Chairperson, thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister, for the response. will there be any consequences for those responsible for the fruitless and wasteful expenditure at the end? Chairperson must apologize. I've got a network problem. That's why I can't switch on the video.
No, you must come to
Deputy Chair.
We hear you,
Deputy
Honorable
Chair.
Bartlett. Honorable Bartlett, you may continue. And Honorable Tamai, please allow Honorable Bartlett. Because of your network issues, we can't hear you now.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Okay, Chair. Okay, Chair. Am I audible now?
You are not audible.
Am I audible? Chairperson.
Honorable Bartlett,
can you hear
you are
me?
not audible. We don't hear you. We
Yes,
don't
Chair.
hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now. If you can just stabilize your network.
Okay, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair, Deputy Chairperson, and thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister, for the response. Will there be any consequences, Chair, for those responsible for the fruitless?
Thank you. The Honorable Deputy Minister, I'm sure you heard what she was asking.
No, thank you very much,
Yeah,
Your Excellency.
Yes.
I heard Comrade Bartlett. I can assure Comrade Bartlett that we will act without
And wasteful
any
expenditure at
fear.
the end of the investigation process.
Thank you.
I thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Bartlett. Thank you. We have your question. I apologize, Honorable Deputy Minister, you may continue.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair. Honorable Comrade Bartlett, please be assured we are going to act decisively without any fear or favor or contradiction where mishaps have happened. It's the right thing to do. But secondly, there is also even a requirement, Honorable Comrade Deputy Chair of NCOP. We will never get the regularization of irregular expenditure by National Treasury and yourselves if we can't demonstrate that we took action. And it's our view and a fervent determination, Chair, that we are going to clean all the irregular expenditure in our department, whether historic, whether current. But as I was saying in the beginning, there is a light at the end of the tunnel because for the first time, there is no declaration of fruitless and wasteful expenditure. The answer is a definite yes. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. We will continue. And the next question is question number 229, as was asked by Honorable Mr. C.F. Beyer-Smith. You may continue, Honorable Deputy Minister, to respond to that question.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Chair. And the Honorable Smith, the question you have asked, the department were all aware, Chair. At a particular point, there was the stoppage, no release of the blue drop, the green drop, and no drop reports around 2014. And as a ministry, we've reinstated this instrument, Chairperson, because it's an important instrument because it gives us an opportunity to compare ourselves internationally with all our peers. It allows us an opportunity to also look at the weaknesses of our performance and say, what do we do to improve? But at the very same time, it gives us the ability to give incentives. And more importantly, it gives the citizens of our country whether to have confidence on our ability to manage water and sanitation. Sometimes when we release these reports, like we did last year and this year, Chair, there are people who are just creating an impression as if it's a shock. It's their own finding. These are our own results, Chairperson. Our own results have indicated that a number of municipalities are struggling with their own wastewater treatment works. And some of them, they've scored below 30% in terms of operational efficiency. Hence, you could see the sewer running in the street. You could see pollution actually causing more problems. The municipalities in total in our country whose wastewater treatment works scored below 30%. The total is 334 chairperson. But the actual number of wastewater treatment works in our country that are recorded with us as the Department of Water and Sanitation, there are 850 of them. To be in a position to rehabilitate them, bring them to functionality, in total, the municipalities, they have to spend about 2.8 billion rands just to bring these wastewater treatment works into functionality. But from one municipality to the other, the situation, it varies in terms of the degree. But the major wastewater treatment works in KwaZulu-Natal, we have 147 and 20 are below that. The Western Cape, they have 158 and 18 of them are not performing well. You can look at the issues of Eastern Cape, 123 and 48. There are a number of these zones that are there, Chairperson. I'm not going to go through each province, but that's the totality. We have agreed with the Department of Culture now, Chairperson, that these municipalities must be supported. One, to increase the capacity in terms of the design, because most of these wastewater treatment works, there was an increase in population size. The capacity of the plant was not increased. Whether you come here in Tshwane, where the Roy Valley is taking more than 60% of the waste that is coming here, whether in Fulen and elsewhere, that's the most important aspect that we're saying we're asking them to do. But then we must improve their pump stations. We must improve their treatment works so that when they discharge the water, the effluent, back into the system, Chairperson, they are in a position to discharge an effluent that is acceptable in terms of the license condition. But the last matter on the wastewater treatment works, we say that the wastewater, we can do a circular economy where you recycle it, like in Maritzburg. One of the plants the president went to open them. We are recycling the waste. We treat it into a standard that you can drink the water from that particular component. We are going to be producing electricity, 1 megawatt, but at the very same time, we'll produce fertilizers and other organizations. They will also use the effluent for their own production, either for irrigation, other mines. They are also using effluent water so that at least in a circular economy, there is no water that goes to waste. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable Smith, your follow-up.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair. The last statement by the Deputy Minister is quite ironic because he just earlier said it's acceptable to lose more than 1 billion rand worth of water by water boards. Anyway, Deputy Minister, the communities in these municipalities that these dysfunctional sewer work plants are not working, their dignity has been taken away and have their constitutional rights in terms of Section 24 and 27 of the Bill of Rights in Chapter 2 stamped on with no disregard by the ANC government. South Africans have had enough of your excuses and so-called plans, because the whole time we hear about fancy plans and fancy implementations of reports and whatever the case may be. South Africans want to know here and now, what have you done to date and what are you doing to fix your mess and hold people accountable who are responsible for this? Thank you.
Honorable Smith, sometimes the words that we use is not really acceptable when we are speaking here. I'm just warning you, and I don't want to be responded to. We can ask questions without going too low. Honorable Deputy Minister, you may respond. You can ask
No,
questions without going there.
Thank you, Chair. It's not honorable to distort issues. If Honorable Smith is not appreciating the water philosophy between in terms of integrated water resource management, you don't appreciate the source, the bulk system, the distribution. Is not my problem, Chairperson. Because in terms of operational efficiency of the bulk system on the question that I've responded to, it meets the international norm. Unless the honorable member has the data that he could put on the table and demonstrate that is not the fact. But the other issue is more about the value chain of water. The issues of blaming the ANC, Chair, is like living in a glass house and you throw stones. I have a metro where I'm a resident called the city of Tshwane. Over the last 7 years to 8 years, they've messed up the issues of Hammanskraal. And the people of Rooiwal, for the first time, is highly polluted. And the citizens, they died on the basis that the wastewater treatment works, they don't meet the standard. Wherein the South African Human Rights Commission have done an investigation. The public procurator has done an investigation. And the CSIR, and their own admission, they failed to ensure that the environment in which our people live is not harmful. They've done that. He stays in Cape Town. I was counting here, more than 18 wastewater treatment works are performing below the optimal capacity of 30%. And the sins of the people of state that are staying in Cape Town is that it's a city of two nations. There's a city of one race, and there's a city of the majority, where the majority of our people on daily basis, they are made to inhale, and our children in the townships, they are playing in sewer. Therefore, Mr. Smith, don't play politics when it comes to water. It knows no ideology, it knows no boundaries. Our commitment remains, whether the municipality is run by the ANC, the DA, or any other party, the government led by President Ramaphosa will support all our water services authority because our people deserve better. That's why in Tshwane we're helping, that's why in the Western Cape we're helping, and elsewhere. The ANC has never claimed that it is a saint, but let's not diminish the fact of the condition in which our people find. Now that the assessment has been done, there is a turnaround plan. Jointly by COPTA, ourselves, and SALTA, we shall support municipalities because we will not play games with the lives of our citizens. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The next will be Honorable Mr. Magwala. You will ask the next follow-up.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Kunjani, ma'am? It's nice to see
long
you.
Time. Nice to see you again.
Greetings to the Honorable Deputy Minister. Before I ask my question, Deputy Minister.
Greetings, Fighter.
Honorable Makwala, Fighter, Honorable Makwala.
Honorable Fighter Makwala.
Yes, Deputy Minister, there's a say that says water is life, sanitation is dignity. Whether the minister agrees that this dysfunctional sewer system are a sign of a department that is lacking in a capacity and unable to fulfill its primary duty to deliver equitable service delivery to its people. And it is also an indication of a government which does not take care for Black people living in township. Short and sweet. Thank you, Deputy Minister.
Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair. Honorable Fighter Makwala, we are mistaken in terms of roles and responsibility. The statement that says that the department doesn't care, it has no capacity to fix wastewater treatment works is further from the truth, because all the wastewater treatment works, they don't belong to the Department of Water and Sanitation. In terms of our laws of our land, these are the assets that belong to Water Services Authority and other public entities. But our responsibility is to do an assessment, ensure that they meet the license conditions. One of the matters that we've seen in our own assessment is that most of these municipalities, their wastewater treatment works, they've never been in a position to invest in terms of the build or capex to meet the demand in terms of the new growth. If you look, for an example, 12 years ago, our population was 52 million. Today, the population is 62 million. And a number of these municipalities, irrespective which party leads these municipalities, they neglected to increase the wastewater treatment works in terms of the modules. Then the second component is operations and maintenance. Even if you can have a Rolls Royce of a wastewater treatment works, like the Northern Works of Johannesburg, that treats more than 410 megaliters of effluent. If you don't do operation and maintenance well, we are going to have problems, and you don't have the necessary capacity. But I can assure you, you can point the finger at the ANC. The ANC is addressing the problems. That's why the example of Mfuleni, where most of those streets and those houses were cleaned the sewer, is because we care. The issue that we are going to be sending Umgeni to support the city of eThekwini to ensure that their 10 wastewater treatment works are attended to is an ANC government at work. The fact of the matter that Roy Van in Tshwane is not working and Tshwane has no money. We're supporting them with DPSA, we're funding money so that we can fix Roy Van, so that the people of Hammanskraal too, under the sun, their dignity should not be trampled with. We do admit there are shortfalls, but let's not deny the truth that the ANC, this ministry, is hard at work. We're on the ground, covering corner to corner of our country.
Kubo.
How your campaign now, Minister?
Ngiyaqhuba, comrade fight.
Yeah, liqiniso.
I'm done, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. I'm sorry. The next question will be from Honorable Mr. De Bruin.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Deputy Minister, without playing politics, I think we can agree that the number of dysfunctional sewer treatment plants and systems across South Africa is shocking and shameful, to say the least. And surely with the numbers and the stats provided by the Blue and the Green Drop reports and by yourself today, your department must have launched several investigations to identify the persons, officials and organizations that are responsible for the total collapse of the country's sewer systems and treatment works. Now, Deputy Minister, how many councillors, city managers, MECs and officials have been investigated, prosecuted and terminated as a result of the incompetence that caused the collapse of our sewer works in South Africa? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Minister. Deputy Minister, I don't know. If you don't have the information, you know what to do.
No, thank you very much, Your Excellency. I don't have the numbers here around our issues of enforcement and compliance. We can give the honorable member. And I'm happy that Honorable De Bruin, your attitude, which is very positive, that let's not politicize it, the matter. One of the things that we do as a ministry, we act without any favor or prejudice. An example, I know that there are a number of municipalities, even in my own province, in Mpumalanga, a municipality led by the ANC. I personally went to open a case against the mayor of a municipality in Mpumalanga. And a number of municipalities in Mpumalanga that are run by the ANC. There are court judgments that have been made against the mayors and the MMs on the basis of their failure to comply. And even here in Gauteng, we're doing it and elsewhere. But those figures, we can be in a position to deal with them. But the issue is that anyone who pollutes, they must stop pollution. If they persist, the polluter will pay and will prosecute them. But remedial action will be taken, like we're doing with the integrated valve system. We're working with Save the Val and other NGOs. Right now, we've directed Rainwater to say, what do we do to do with the issues of rehabilitation? But municipalities must be helped to increase the capacity of infrastructure against the population growth, around issues of climate change, and the other dynamics that we're facing. And the ERP that the President presented to the joint houses of Parliament is a response that infrastructure remain a priority and an apex in terms of our own investment, whether it's electricity, water, transport, you can name them. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The last follow-up in this question is from Honorable Mr. Mtetwa.
Thank you, Deputy Chairperson. Good afternoon, colleagues. Minister, Deputy Minister, I heard your plan and everything that you are dealing with in terms of this problem. So my question is, Deputy Minister, is that what is your long-term plan that you will assist this municipality in addressing all these problems? Your long-term plan, if you can present to us. Thank you.
Over to you, Honorable Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency, Deputy Chair, thank you very much to Honorable Comrade Nyambos. Nyambos, one of the immediate issues that we must deal with now is to bring the functionality of those wastewater treatment works that are not working well. Number two, our population has grown. Now we must be able to actually address the backlog that these wastewater treatment systems, if we don't increase their capacity, it will impact on development, it will impact on investment. But because Nyambos, there is a problem that these municipalities, they don't have sufficient revenue. Our view going forward is to link infrastructure development with revenue enhancement. That's why when we make the example of Maritzburg, where you build the biggest wastewater treatment plant, when you build it, what you do, you reuse the water. In other words, you don't actually all the time go and abstract raw water. That is expensive. You make it a circular economy. You treat it to be in a standard that people can drink the water again. But we must work on the issue of getting our citizens to know that reused water is still a quality water. That's one component. But the other component, when you reuse the water, there are other sectors of our economy that needs effluent water. An example is Ivan Plant's mine in Limpopo, in Mkhalakwen, where they said, give us effluent. Our operation for chrome, it needs effluent, produce more. In other words, do more human settlement, produce more sewer. Then they buy that particular water. That's what you use the water for. You get revenue. Agriculture and for other things, you also get that particular wastewater. They do irrigation for issues of food security. But then you are also take the sludge, which is solid. You then actually work on the sludge after we have done the dewatering. You produce the manure so that the manure can become an issue of the issues of the fertilizer. Right now, there's a war between Russia and Ukraine. We're running out of fertilizers. We should be producing our own fertilizers in our own country. But because of that organic material that you find in the plants, in the wastewater treatment plants, you can convert the sludge into a methane gas. You can sell the gas in terms of those water gas bottles, but you can also put it into the grid. Therefore, our solution is issues of a circular economy, where you look at the infrastructure, waste management, and energy generation, and stimulate the other economies that are around. If we can do it here in Johannesburg, they produce 410 million liters of sewer a day. That normally goes to artists down to the people of Northwest. That is partially treated. Those are the things that we're going to, because our wastewater treatment plants in future, you must go there, Nyambos. You can eat there. You can't feel the smell because it is operated properly. Nyatogoza, Nyambos.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. The final question is question number 222, as asked by the Honorable Mr. M. Dangor. Honorable Deputy Minister, you can respond to it.
Your Excellency, Comrade Deputy Chair, and to His Excellency, Comrade Dango. I know, Comrade Dango, our thoughts and prayers today are with the people of Palestine, as we have served our country well in that part of the world. The issue of the timber treatment plant and the issue of the Rooiwal wastewater treatment, Honorable Dango, we're very happy when we met with the NCOP team led by yourself and Umamungwen. Now that the relationship between ourselves and the city of Tshwane under Mayor Brick has improved, we don't play politics. There is an agreement that DBSA will become our implementing agent. When they become our implementing agent, already we have set aside money, about 480 million that has been set aside by ourselves from our own budget to support. The city has also put 150 million. Therefore, the issue of fixing Rooiwal after certain people messed up the plant is already underway right now. And we're hopeful that the different phases will be done so that this water that continuously comes to the plant, it can't go to the Epis River, it can't go to Loikrel Dam, and then to the timber plant, where these people of Hammanskraal are being told that we have water, but the water is not safe to drink, use it for something else. But in the short term, we've made that decision that Mahali's water must come on board. Mahali's water is coming on board because there's a cliff draft where we can put a package plant. And that package plant will treat the water, will then do the retrofitting into the timber system. And when that retrofitting is being done, we should be able to conclude. Now we've directed that Mahalis must do it. We're just waiting the delays that National Treasurer must agree that the 480 million that were given to Mahalis must be utilized to do these particular issues. As I've said, we are looking at the acceleration plan, working with the city of Tshwane, including the province, around the issue of the wastewater treatment works. But at the very same time, we must ensure that these communities that doesn't have safe drinking water from the taps, the interim measures of cutting that water is of good quality. There is no exploitation by the tankering people colluding with the officials of the state, and people don't receive water, and millions of rands are being used to feed those particular individuals or business people. And we've advised Tshwane and other municipalities across the country, buy your own water tankers so that we can remove the third party and we can remove the issue of wherein officials work with private sector to vandalize infrastructure, impact on the valves. But it also has an implication that municipalities, they provide water without getting revenue. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable Dangor, your follow-up.
Yeah, thank you very much for the response, Minister. And you've answered some of my questions by other questions and other questions being asked. However, can you expand upon what is being done between the date of commencement for the conclusion of the plant and how are we providing healthy water at this point in time between now and the commencement date to the residents of Hammanskraal? Further, Minister, can you please share with us the reasons why the local authority is reluctant to request that Rand Water extends the pipeline that presently supplies parts of Hammanskraal and other surrounding areas to Hammanskraal? Further, are you aware that the local authority has reacted to the various investigations conducted by the Human Rights Commission and other organs of state? Thank you, Mr. I will also ask the question for Honorable Motsamai, which is next.
Honorable TM.
Thank you, leadership. Thank you, Chair. Honorable Dangu, in the meantime, as I've said, the interim measures to support those communities is to ensure that the integrity where the water is being abstracted is of good quality. We can't compromise in terms of the quality of water. And the two systems of rainwater and Mahalis, very, very good systems, no problems. And the cooperation of the municipality chair in terms of ensuring that their tinkering is happening well, there's an oversight, and it's a very good thing. We're very happy with that particular attitude. But we must also admit that there are simmering tensions. There's been a tension between the city of Tshwane and Randwater, but also politicization, because another political party has made a decision that they are going to make water as a political issue, while themselves are responsible for this. Hence, I was asked by Minister Mtunu to chair a meeting between Tshwane, Randwater, and the province to coordinate their efforts to stop quibbling while our people are suffering. And I must admit, I've got a lot of cooperation from both two parties, but at the very same time, there have been incidents where there are certain point scoring politically, but we are managing that particular space. There's been some reluctance that I don't understand why. When an institution of more than 120 years that is in the stock exchange and is the biggest in the continent is not allowed to support. But at the very same time, as national government, our hands are tied. We can't impose a water services authority, a water services provider, or a contractor to this. That's why we do agree on the question of DBSA. On the issues of investigations, we are very pleased that ultimately His Excellency, the President, has agreed that more than 200 million that was meant for Roy Valley is being investigated by the SIU, and the proclamation has been gazetted, and other matters that are related to. We must admit that in the past, the South African Human Rights Commission, which is an important component in our constitutional democracy, did an assessment, produced a report, but some components within the city, they dismissed that report and refused when they say we must intervene, even went into court. But I must admit the current mayor is different from those other current mayors who were actually very disingenuous, not agreeing to attend to the problem then. Last week, we had a meeting with the acting public protector of the Republic of South Africa. They too have done an intensive investigation and made findings against the municipality. Now that findings have been made, we have agreed to stay closer, and we're hopeful that all parties that are involved in the interest of our people and the people of this capital city of our country will never politicize the matters, get down to work, provide water, but ensure that all the wastewater systems of Tshwane that are polluting our rivers beyond Royval and Apis, they are all fixed, like we shall do elsewhere in our land. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Minister. Honorable Mutsamai, you have the next follow-up.
Maybe Chair Comrade Dango can ask for Fighter Honorable Mutsamai, as you are saying.
I think we can continue and ask Honorable Hadebe, and then we will come back to Honorable Mutsamai.
No, I did ask a question.
The leadership through Chair, you can remind me the question so that I can answer. I've been answering too many questions, Babu Mutsamai.
It was the question about Hamaskral. You did answer me.
Thank you.
Very much, Honorable Mutsamai and Deputy Minister Siyakuba. The next third follow-up question is going to ask by Honorable Hadebe.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chairperson. Honorable Deputy Minister, I would like to know what agreement has been reached in terms of time frame, water quality standards, and maintenance schedule for the next 10 years in order to address the needs of timber water treatment works. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Minister.
Chairperson, I need to indicate to Honorable Bungane, I don't have the time frames here. I only know what is in the short term that must be done, in the medium term, and then in the long term, without in terms of the years, because I never carry that data. We can provide. But in the short term, Bungan, is that in the meantime, while there's an infrastructure fail, citizens must get water without fail. And that short term, it says that the only solution is the water cutting. And the water cutting that is happening there, to ensure that there's a quality of the water, a determination was made that we must use the sources where we abstract the water on credible sources. That's why we went for the source for rainwater. We went for the source of Mahalis. They all do meet the criteria in terms of South African National Standard 241 drinking water. We're very confident. But then there's an issue of handling. How do you handle the cutting? When the water comes into the cut, there are people who are inspecting them, ensure that there's nothing there in those particular containers and the tanks. And so that samples are also done on an ongoing basis. Then there's an issue of monitoring the frequency. You know, abantu bamatenka, some of them, bangati batwale, trucks are 3, batwale 1, agaitwalang. Those are some of the things. But then there's issue of security that they are providing. That is a short term. But in the medium term, Bungane, that's issue of getting water from Eclipse Drift. Eclipse Drift is giving already its 10 megaliters. We wanted to improve that one to give them 40 megaliters, which is 40 million liters a day. That's why Sitatem Mahadi's water. That used to work on that side because Eclipse Drift is operated by Mahadi's water. For them to put a treatment plant, they needed to have money, and we made money ourselves, which is 480 million. So they can do that. We're just waiting for concurrence from National Treasury. But immediately they started treating the water because it's a short-term thing. They have started, the designs are complete. They can go to procurement at any stage. Then they can do retrofitting in the existing system. You cut the water that comes from timber that is contaminated. You scour the system, you clean it. Then they can start getting water from the system that is clean. When they get the water that is clean, Pungan, they can start billing people. They can bill people because that water is consumable. But in the meantime, the source and the epicenter of the problem, the wastewater treatment plant, in our phases, is to fix the Royval, increase the capacity of corner, and it's going to take us close to about 5 years, and it's going to need more than 2 billion just to do that particular work. But its startup capital, 150, has been made available by the municipality because there's DPSA. DPSA in a capacity of project management, but it's also a bank. It can also allow us to look at funding options because that 2-point-something billion rand to completely overhaul the entire system is not available. We must go to the markets. Ngiyathokoza, Phumani. Thank you very much, Mtimans.
Asibonge baba. Deputy Minister, the last follow-up question is going to ask by Honorable Baha, DA.
Masibonge, Mama. Thank you, DM, for your responses. I think that you might have touched on what I'm going to ask. But DM, the problem in Rooiwal is a long time coming. Rooiwal was already identified in 2004 by the city's water master plan, which was followed by a warning issued in 2008, and then an environmental conservation notice in 2011. The problem has become too big and too expensive for the municipality to handle without assistance. Now, my question, DM, is whose responsibility is the package plan that is part of the agreement, and what is the progress of that project to date? Thank you, DM. Thank you, House Chairperson.
Siyabonga baba. Deputy Minister.
Your Excellency, Comrade Chair, Honorable Baha, we are absolutely correct. The problem is a long-term problem. But then there is something that we call it, when you take over power, you inherit assets and liabilities. That's why when we took over power in 1994, we also do the same. Manje ke labantu abakhona lapha labahlobo bakho Honorable Baha mabadile nenkinga kodwa ke namuhla siyabambisana nawo. Manje ke singazama ukuqasha ngesithupha ngale ndaba le. Labo sheriff abakhona abaphethe sizobalekelela ukuxazulula lenkinga. That is our commitment. Uma siceda ukwenza le package plant le ezobe u40 megaliters, we can assure you that we are going to transfer the asset to the municipality. It will be owned by the municipality because it belongs to those particular people. As I was saying, other support plans around other wastewater treatment works, issues of funding, there is a clear agreement between the minister and the mayor. They are working well together, working so well. And it's our commitment. You know, it's an embarrassment for any nation where there can be a collapse of a capital. Irrespective who runs the capital, we're going to get the capital to work because it's our face, it's our pride, it's our heritage. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Asibonge, Deputy Minister. Honorable members, we have come to an end of the question to the Minister of Water and Sanitation. I would like to thank the Deputy Minister for being available to answer questions. I also wish to thank Permanent Delegate, MECs, all Special Delegate, and SALGA representative for availing themselves for the sitting. Honorable members, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned. Thank you.
Malibongwe, Nkosi, malibongwe ini Nkosi.
Recording stopped.
Msamayi.
You're too late.
But ngiyamhlonipha uMagwala. Wambona ukuthi uyikomisa lo.